Nintendo's Switch 2 Direct is still months away, but thanks to the internet, the Switch 2 launch titles are beginning to leak online. And I don't know what's happening with Nintendo right now, but this launch has been so filled with leaks. Like, I feel like every day I turn online and I'm learning something new. And like in the 7 years I've spent covering video games here on the show, I can't remember a single game or like even a single console that has dealt with the level of leaks that Nintendo is dealing with right now. Like, it's getting to the point that I know Nintendo is making their partners sign NDAs, but like, did they forget to have their employees sign them too? Because everything is leaking at this point. Now, this specific leak is because of the online retailer Newegg, who briefly listed the following on their Nintendo gift card page: 2025 games, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, new 3D Mario, new Mario Kart, a Legend of Zelda remaster, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and Pokemon Legends Z and A. And it's definitely worth noting here, that has since been updated, and the games that have been removed are any games that mention a new 3D Mario, new Mario Kart, or a Zelda remaster. Those games have been removed. So let's just break that down for a second, because I think there's some important takeaways there. A new Mario game is very intriguing to me, because I feel like looking back on Nintendo consoles in my life, every generation has their own Mario game that I can remember, right? Like Super Nintendo 64, you have the Mario 64. When you had the Switch, it was Odyssey. When you had GameCube, it was Sunshine, and Nintendo Wii had Galaxy. And so it would make sense that Nintendo would be like, hey, Switch 2's coming out, let's get a brand new 3D Mario video game out and, build up some hype and get people invested in this game. But it's hard for me to get my hopes up for this, because I've also read stories that's like, no. Nintendo's not talking about a new 3D Mario game. What they're talking about here is possibly doing a remastered version of Super Mario Odyssey in order to like fully take advantage of the new resolutions that the Switch 2 will offer, which I guess like I'm okay with, but I mean, admittedly, a repolished Mario Odyssey just definitely does not make me want to like run to the stores and grab a brand new Nintendo Switch console. But the new Zelda game is intriguing though, because like they're like, it could be a remaster or it could be a new game. And there's a lot of games you could choose from if you want to remaster. I mean, the safe bets here are probably like a remaster of Breath of the Wild or a remaster of Tears of the Kingdom. I know Tears of the Kingdom just came out, but again, new tech with rumored like 4K, 2K resolutions when in dock mode. You definitely want to say like, we can upscale this game, we can make it run better. But like the other reason I lean towards like Tears of the Kingdom is I think it was last year. In 2024, there was a report that came out that said Breath of the Wild outsold Tears of the Kingdom by 11 million copies. Now keep in mind, at that time, Breath of the Wild was a 7-year-old game. So during that fiscal year, Breath of the Wild, a 7-year-old game, sold 11 million more copies than Tears of the Kingdom did, which was the brand new Zelda game. Now, in my opinion, a lot of that is people seeing Tears of the Kingdom and like, well, I gotta play the first one first, which is good news, but I'm sure Nintendo is looking at this and being like, man, our new Zelda game has a lot more potential. We can get way more sales out of Tears of the Kingdom, so let's throw it on the Switch 2, let's boost up the performance, and let's charge another $79.99 for the better resolutions and figure out what's going there. I personally, though, would like to see like a new entry. I'm not the biggest fan of Tears. I thought it was okay. It's not the greatest Zelda game of all time, but it's a good Zelda game. But I would love to see a new entry of just something completely different, completely wild. But I feel like that would have came out at least like we would know if they're working on a new Zelda entry at this point, but I don't think that's the case. And then the final game listed there is a new Mario Kart game, which I know we talked about it following the Switch reveal last week, that they were showing Mario Kart. And look, I think this is a no-brainer for Nintendo. Mario Kart is the type of game that sells like hotcakes. Whether you are new to Nintendo or whether you've grown up with Nintendo, Mario Kart holds a very nostalgic spot in all of our lives. And a new Mario Kart game is something you can play with friends and you can play with kids and everybody understands it. So it makes sense. But you combine a new Mario Kart game with like the speculated 24-player races, the improvements, and like the new technology. And yeah, you can get really excited here. Right? And like, let's say the Nintendo Switch 2 has an improved online experience and we can now play those games significantly better online. I think that would be huge. But as excited as this gets me, there's also a part of me that has to temper my expectations because I am 35 years old. I've dealt with Nintendo my entire pretty much life ever since I was a kid, and I look at like this lineup and I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a new 3D Mario. It's probably not a new Zelda game. These are probably remastered Odyssey, and it's probably remastered Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, right? It's just they're gonna remaster the games and release them similar to what they did with the Wii U going into the Nintendo Switch. And then I look at Mario Kart and I'm like, as excited as I would be for a brand new Mario Kart game, it's hard for me to get excited because I'm like, what if this was just Mario Kart 8 remastered? And I know I got a lot of heck for that last week. I know there was a lot of people who were like, how can you say that? This looks nothing like Mario Kart 8. But I'm just like, I know Nintendo, and I'm not going to put it past them for them to be like, we don't need a new Mario Kart game. Just put a polish of paint on the old Mario Kart game, add the word Deluxe and Ultimate Edition to it, and we'll sell millions. I don't know. It's really interesting, and we could spend hours debating this, but like, I think it's also important to reiterate here, right? This is coming from Newegg. This is not coming from Nintendo. So until we hear from Nintendo, all of this is just speculation, right? Nintendo will come out and they'll announce the launch titles for the Switch 2, and that it will be taking place on May 2nd, which is a very long time from now. But at the same time, I mean, you look at how many leaks we're getting on a daily and weekly basis, and there's a really good chance that whatever these launch details are that Nintendo's holding for this Direct, those are going to get revealed way before the Direct because everything is getting leaked for this. But